The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri alongside Jacky Lambert, and I want to thank you for getting up bright and early with us on this Wednesday morning. Jack, how are you feeling? Are you landed? Are you safe? Sound?
I made it safely, guys. I feel good.
Great success. So you made it on time then, because we had a little conversation yesterday about you cut it close last time.
I decided to go for carry on again because I'm just like, I'm not buying anything. I am coming back. I want to come in and out fast. I just want to grab my ticket, say hi to the little duty-free section, re-up on some alcohol, and then walk right out to the car and jump right in and go home. And that's it.
I love it. And so, as you can see, Jacky and I, as always, are ready to bring you some feel-good vibes this morning. Today, we're actually going to be talking about a topic that is not the usual feel-good topic, but it's definitely something that Jacky and I want to touch on, and that's the homeless population in Bermuda. If that conversation is something that you're interested in, if you have a passion for it, or if it's just something that you want to bring more awareness to, make sure you stick around and participate in that conversation later on in this show. And as always, if you want to laugh to get your morning started, make sure you stick around for our feel-good vibe of the day, which is Joke Time with Jacky. Now, to get us warmed up for today's show, Monday we touched on this, and it looks like we're back again to talk about this because the most handsome man in Bermuda now have an Instagram account. There is an Instagram account that was created for this competition, and we're actually going to show you guys the Instagram page right now in case you didn't know what it was about. This is Bermuda's most handsome man have nominated themselves, been submitted, and there is a competition going on to claim who the best guy is. So we want to know from you, audience, what do you think about this account? Do you think it's a timely account? Do you think, it's a vain account because we don't know who started it? We're not, taking any credit for it. We just know that it exists, and the men's have put themselves forward. And I just want to say before we continue, good morning to you, Kathy Rogers. Thank you for joining us. So, Jack, we shared this with each other yesterday. What do you think? What do you think about this account?
I like the account. I'm not mad at it. I am not mad at it. I just think it's funny because, as I was saying earlier, if I like the post, you now know that I liked your post, your picture. So are you going to try and slide me DM? Because it go down in the DMs, it go down. No, but I'm pleased. This is more like what I was expecting when it came to that competition. Like, there's no track to see how they actually came up with this 10 guys, whereas this makes sense now, right? So now everybody in Bermuda, or you can pass it around the world, because now with internet and social media, the world's a smaller place. So you can pass this around to all your friends and get them to like and go from there. It might turn into a little popularity contest, but whatever.
But that's kind of, because when we talked about it on Monday, that was one thing the audience had brought up as well, right? Like, how do you go about voting for it? And clearly they've given you the opportunity to vote, and they're saying right here, 1 like equals 1 vote. So right. The more votes the picture has, the better it will be for the person. So I'm actually going to stop sharing the screen so that we can bring up a comment. So Sherry Vanderpool says they should have had age categories, first of all. Like there are some silver foxes in there. Listen, we saw the silver foxes. We definitely saw the silver foxes, and we made mental notes to double tap.
Yeah. Tell Terry, go. No, you gotta go like this one. This picture doesn't do it justice.
Did she? And so that was one of the like side conversations we had was just, we had talked about the pictures that the original article had picked. They didn't do the gentleman justice because we do know some of these men probably look better in different lights or have had better photos that would kind of show their handsome features. And even with some of these photos, I did look at some of them like, I'm not sure if this is handsome. And it's also my personal taste, right? So it's if I think the person's handsome or not. Or some guys, I was like, I don't really think he's handsome for my taste, but I think this picture is a handsome photo of this gentleman.
Well, some people I looked and I was just like, oh, they look young. And I know that's probably bad, but it's just like, it's based off of me, right? So I was just like, oh, you're too young. And when I think of it, I think because it's social media, it's Instagram. When you like certain pictures, it's kind of like you're showing interest. So I don't want to also send a wrong message because I feel like these guys are going to be like, yo, I got 200 likes. Oh, who's these shortest? Oh, let me go slide in her DM. Let me see what's up. Let me like her pictures. Oh, she liked my picture. I like her picture. I don't want people to think that this is a dating app. It's not.
This profile could low-key be the start of
for some, maybe.
It could low-key be the start of Bermuda's online dating scene or make it blossom, because I've seen some people say they've tried things like Tinder and other apps and it just didn't work for them. So maybe this is the start of a beautiful situation in Bermuda. Now I can say also what I found interesting were because we don't know who submitted the photos, right? So like people nominated or were nominated. So it wasn't the people that created this account who decided who's going to be on the list or not. What I find, I'm interested to know like how the submissions went. Did most of the guys submit themselves or did women submit them? Because, sometimes women be know what pictures to post and sometimes men don't be know what pictures to post.
I wish I had more time because if I could nominate, I would have nominated a slew of people, but I didn't realize that they were actually going to close. I was just like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow when I have time. Because obviously I had just landed and I was getting my bearings. And I was just like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And I wish I had done it yesterday because I'm just like, darn, I missed it.
Your options, they're gone now. And so I want to say good morning to you, Sean Smith. Thank you for joining us. And if you are just joining us, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again to let you guys know what it is we're talking about. You see at the bottom of the screen. So we're asking your thoughts on the Burmese Most Instagram account. It was recently created, I guess, as an answer to the, shall we say, lackluster Most Bermudian Men Alive list, and there have been a number of submissions. It looks like they have 71 posts, so we'll say 70 submissions have been sent through for the most handsome man in Bermuda for 2022. And as you can see, 70 gentlemen are in the runnings, and it is based on the most likes. One like is one vote, excuse me. So if you haven't already had a chance to go ahead and vote for your most handsome man in Bermuda, make sure you head over to Burmese Most and do that. Although this wasn't necessarily the intention, we did kind of want to talk about it because Jacky and I found this particular Instagram account to be really, I find entertaining. I think it's for fun. I don't feel like they're trying to like stir the pot. I think it's just, for fun. And I'm grateful for that. Like, I'm grateful that, someone said, let's do this. Like, let's just create the real list. Let's create the real list.
No, I like how this was because remember I said the baby competition, you would submit and then people will go and like. I know back then it used to be like one like a day. So you'd go and you'd like, and then tomorrow you come back and you like, and the next day you come back and like until the competition's over. Obviously, if this case, you're only allowed to like it once because once your account likes it, that's a wrap for your account. Right. But I don't know. I'm not opposed to it.
I'm not either. And so I want to say good day to you and Nika. And so she's asking us, where do we go to, I guess, vote? And so you actually go on Instagram. So here's the link to the Instagram account. If you have Instagram, just type in Bermudas_most and their profile will pop up. And then you can scroll through the list on your own and vote for your most handsome man that you see on the list. Jackie and I love it.
I wonder if the women are going to be next. That'd be fun. I mean, I don't want to be a part of it. Like, don't.
And that's why I need to know the rules of engagement. Like, I need to know what's the rules for the submission. Because what if someone submits me and I personally didn't want to be submitted, or they didn't pick the best picture? Like, if they can't submit me, consult me.
I would nicely type in and be like, hi, excuse me, I don't want to play. I thank you. You know, I appreciate it, but
no thanks.
You're embarrassing me.
And so I don't think so. Yes, I get it. And so, like, you know, even when we talk about the vain part of it being based on likes, there is that element of like, we already have our own Instagram accounts where we kind of already have these conversations with ourselves around, oh, this posting gets so many likes, so let me take it down, or whatever the case may be.
No, I leave all my posts up. It's just that a lot of my posts are like goofy. Like I'm doing something
but
jokey.
That's your personality, and people might really appreciate that.
Yeah, like Titanic, I'm holding on to my friend singing the Titanic song. So like
quirky is the new sexy, Jack. What are you talking about?
That's what we tell ourselves? Okay.
Yes. That's what I tell myself. On that note, Jackie and I are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to talk about our frugal topic of the day. We are talking about being homeless for the holidays. That is a conversation that Jackie and I feel real passionate about talking about. So do make sure you stick around for that. Jackie and I will be right back.
Looking for that fine dining experience? Then Aliana's is the place for you. And it's lobster season in Bermuda. So ladies, get your girls together for a ladies' night out. Book a table of 4 and each of you will get a 10% discount on your half or whole lobster main course. Starters not included. This lobster special is on until Saturday, December 18th. Serving dinner from 6 p.m. Thursday through Sundays. And of course, we have all your favorites, complemented with our specialty drinks and wine list, followed by our scrumptious homemade desserts. Aliana's Fine Dining Restaurant, 106 Southside St. David's. Phone 777-0555 for reservations. For those special occasions, there's Aliana's.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. If you're just joining us earlier, we talked about the new Instagram account, Bermuda's Most, that was created in answer to, we're assuming that it was an answer to the lackluster list that was created of the most Bermudian men alive. If you haven't had a chance to vote for your favorites, if you've never seen the account, head over to Instagram and just type in Bermudas_most and have fun and enjoy. We're going to transition to our feel good topic of the day. Today, Jackie and I want to discuss being homeless for the holidays. So you may have seen the article in the Daily, and if you didn't see the article in the Daily, that's fine. We'll go ahead and share it with you. And in the article, it basically talks about, I don't know if it's a new charity organization because they didn't really say whether they're new or old, but it is an organization called Home that are working with 50 people in Bermuda who are homeless. 44 of them are men, while 6 are women. And so Jackie and I thought it would be really important to just have this conversation and just maybe get your opinions on what you're thinking about being homeless. So the first question I want to ask you is just going down on the bottom of the screen now is, what do you think causes homelessness? Because from the article that was reported, 5 of the homeless people have technical training, 6 are college educated, and 4 actually have full-time employment. So I know for me, what I would have thought causes homelessness is not being employed or not being educated to be able to get a job, to be employed. So what are your thoughts on it, Jack? Like, what do you think causes homelessness?
Cost of living in Bermuda is ridiculous, for one. 2, you have, I see a lot of people complaining that they can't find like apartments. So I think it may be a lack of availability for 1-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom apartments. You have cases where people have gotten kicked out of their homes and they have nowhere to go. So it's like it's not like the finale. That's just a point in time where they have nowhere to stay, so they're camping out wherever this case may be. I don't know. I think it's all case by case.
And so I want to bring in this comment from Monica DeShield. She says mental illness could be a cause.
There are a few. I know one homeless person, I think they've passed now. I I remember asking what the situation was, and the family was trying to assist, but they just didn't want to live at home. They enjoyed how they were living. They would go to the house every so often for, a shower, change of clothes, shower, wash clothes, and then they'll go right back out about the business.
And it's very interesting because, when we talk about mental wellness, I think because the whole mental health conversation has always been fixed on the mental illness part of it, that now, we have this holistic approach calling it wellness versus an illness. However, I do think that it's important to be able to recognize that mental illness is a big part of what can cause homelessness for some people. Because like you just mentioned, if someone is actively choosing to live that lifestyle, do we say that's normal? Like, what if they actually believe, like, no, I don't want to be in a big old home. I want to be in nature. And that's okay. Because, we also have those conversations where people are like, I don't want to do this more capitalism, materialistic lifestyle. I want to be able to live out in the woods. And so it comes to that.
There have to be some cases like that. I mean, Bermudians like to camp during cup match, right? So some people love it so much that they're just like, nah, this is how I want to keep it going. And I know some people were saying you have to have a permit because it's illegal, but I mean, if they can't afford it, how can homelessness that most people don't choose be illegal?
Exactly.
I mean, it could be maybe one of those weird lines.
No, I totally agree, and I get what you're saying. Like, it is one of those situations where, being able to distinguish if it is a mental illness or if it's an actual, like, someone's choice to do that, then that's where the fine line comes.
Sometimes I'm paying I'm like, God, I'm gonna pay mortgage again. And I look and I'm just like, living in the trees is free, Lord, these bills, we talked about it yesterday, these bills keep coming, and it's just like one last bill won't hurt, especially the biggest one. So if I get rid of the biggest one, I could breathe.
Everything else might be a little bit easier for sure. So I want to come to this comment from Anika DeShield. She says drug addiction could be a cause for homelessness. And I know we haven't really touched on, drug use and abuse on this show. Personally, we've probably done it all behind the scenes, but that's a really big issue. And,
Absolutely.
Being addicted to something and actively making a choice to put your money towards something that you're addicted to versus your bills, your responsibilities, that's problematic and definitely needs to be addressed and talked about, not just like swept under the rug and said, oh, that person's a drug addict, that's why they're homeless, whatever, that's their choice.
I don't know. I've always been like, people be like, obviously, you go around in different places and you're exposed to different things. And I've had people offer me drugs and I'm just like, I can't afford that. Not in this economy. You want me to get addicted to who? I cannot afford to be addicted to anything except paying bills.
That is my addiction to adulting. Adulting is my addiction. I can agree with you on that.
Like, I was like the other day, somebody was just like, I had gotten something done, like a pedicure, and they was just like, just confirming that nobody's pregnant. I'm like, in this economy? Christmas is coming. No.
I'm brilliant for gifts myself. You want me to get gifts for somebody else? It's going to be a hard pass. I want to bring in this comment from Sean Smith. Is actually a really interesting one. Foreclosure on their homes. And so we talked about, as you mentioned, the cost of living yesterday and how adulting is just not what it was all cracked up to be when we were kids. And so foreclosures are that's a really big thing, right? I mean,
it happens very often, though, to be honest, especially when you constantly raise the land tax. Banks back in the day, you used to be able to go into the bank and people knew exactly who you were. Now you're just a number. And in order for you to get any type of BLI or assistance, they have to your personal bank has to take it to somebody higher up from them, then which takes it to a board that discusses it. And they don't even have any contact with you. They don't know you. They don't even look at your history, and they just come back and they crunch numbers and it's either yes or no. And if they say no, what are you going to do? You either try to sell it, and nothing's really selling that fast right now in Bermuda because everybody is holding out onto their coins.
A panorama.
Thank you. So people are not going to be quick to buy because they could be made redundant any day. People being made redundant. I mean, what was it? Just 3 months ago, the bank made 20. One day it was like 11 people, and then the next day it was more people. So you really don't know unless you work for yourself if your job is secure.
And even
if you work
then,
for yourself, is your clientele going to stick with you? Because people are coming and going off this island so fast.
and
We're
so
in a
even
recession. It's not being spoken about, but anytime a pandemic happens, people hold their coins and it's a recession. So yes, people will absolutely be losing homes or leaving the island depending on their passports allowance.
yeah, and their even their financial situation, right? If
That
if it makes more sense for them to go overseas,
if I can go to London or to our owners and let them pay for us, then
I want to get back to the audience because I see a good bit of comments coming in. So Anika DeShield says, many don't want to abide by the social norms. Speaking of what do we think causes homelessness? And that is like, we kind of touched on it earlier when we talked about like, people don't want the whole homestead. They just need a place to get a bath. They don't necessarily want the responsibility.
I don't want the responsibility, all of that
comes with it. And so I'm going to see if this comment might be too large to put on the screen. So I'll just read it off the side. So Janae says, hey, look, it's hot out here. Cost of living for sure plays a part. I just moved back to the island this year. I have a diploma and a bachelor's. It's been hard to get a job, and especially one that can support you in the ways you need. And that's really important when we're talking about. So from this article, for those of you that are just joining us, we did see an article on the Daily that talked about a charity organization here in Bermuda called Home that are working with 50 people who are currently homeless. 44 of them are men, while 6 are women. And according to Home, some of the causes for homelessness were poverty, inequality, lack of affordable housing, unemployment, and a lack of access to social services, which we all just touched on.
Yep.
Just through this conversation. And I want to bring this comment from Janae up. She says, some people might not have the family support. That is someone they can live with temporarily until they get on their feet. And that's important too, right? Because I mean, Jack, you have a family home and it's, it is divided by your generations, like where it's multiple of you living there. But like, just thinking about your family support system, like imagine if you didn't have that. Like what that would be like how close we are to being a homeless person.
They say it all the time. You are one paycheck away from being homeless. So stop looking down on the homeless, because it could absolutely be you the next day.
Like literally the next day.
Much time we've watched movies over and over again where the rich man doesn't want to give any money to the person on the side that's homeless. Most times it's a veteran, sorry. And then 3 scenes later, he's sitting down next to him asking for the same thing because he was made redundant and didn't make sure keep his expenses low. So without this job, I can't afford to pay my house. I can't afford to pay my car note. I can't afford to eat. Like everything was based off of his job versus, having outside sources of income, and boom, he's homeless too.
Yeah, it's like you say, we are all could be one paycheck away from being out in the streets ourselves. And even from the article, they mentioned 4 people have full-time employment. So I think it comes to, I want to bring up this comment from Janae. She says, prices are going up everywhere, groceries, electricity, etc., but our wage is going up to match. And that's the thing, right? Like, we know prices are going to go up. Inflation happens every single year. It's not a new concept. For those of you that don't know, it basically just reduces the purchasing power of your dollar from year on year. And so if you notice a loaf of bread going up by $1 in the next year, that's because inflation has come into the conversation, and grocery stores still need to make a specific profit margin they're trying to make. And so to Janae's point, like if wages don't match that, it's very easy to see how people could be homeless despite having a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I think I wanted to come back to this comment from Anika DeShield. She says that's why we got to keep working to pay the mortgage. And I feel like sometimes it's a sad existence to think about, right? Like you have to work in order to keep a roof over your head.
You're borderline renting to earn from the bank until you pay it off. I mean, that's actually what it is.
It's a great way to put it, Jack.
Actually, the definition. But just like 1 or 2 missed payments, sometimes they give you 3 missed payments, I think it is, and then they bring you in, and then the 4th one, they're like, your best bet is to sell. They don't say, all right, let's refinance, let's work on this. Most times they're just like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And so I want to come to this comment from Anika, which kind of touches on your family situation. She says, also back in the day, the family homestead used to be full. Many people work for the greater good of the family. And it's really interesting because even trying to buy property now, like to be that generation that's going to bite the bullet and do that is not easy. It's not easy. It's kind of like, you're like, I might as well just stick to renting and figure out my situation that way, because to buy a home, possibly default, have the bank foreclose on your home, and then find yourself in a situation where you may not have a place to stay is kind of like, do I want that struggle, that challenge in life? I don't know.
Well, that's where you have to really be honest with your finances and sit down with the people that, like, don't go and try and buy your first home. And I'm not saying don't try, absolutely don't try. I'm saying if you want to buy a house and you can't afford it on your own, find somebody that you're compatible with financially and even with the business plan side of it, and go from there. You can do your first house as an investment property and rent that out, fix it up, rent it out, and then you could use the money that's coming in to finance your next property.
Okay, Jack, with the finance tips. I see you over there. I see you over there. Look at that. Fly away to New York. Got all these tips now.
No way. I just let you talk finance because that's your niche.
That is so great. And so actually another tip from Anika Shields, work to save for at least 3 to 6, minimum 3 to 6 of essential living expenses. It is hard, but we should strive towards that. And that's definitely something that I would agree with, co-sign. I mean, I think the best minimum goal is $1,000. Once you see that $1,000 tick, that's great. And then work towards 1 month, and then just increase the savings as you're able to, because 6 months, when you do 6 months times your expenses right now, that number is not nice. Like, that number it's gonna make you scared. Like, you're gonna definitely feel like, wait, this is how much I need to save. Start small and get yourself to a place where you're able to get to that 6 months. Now, I want to come to this comment from Sean Smith. He says, in the US, they are doing tiny living. Too bad in Bermuda, you can't buy a bus to live in. Yeah, unfortunately.
That would be wicked. Like, I've looked at these small homes and stuff, and I just wonder if Bermuda, like, what the permit and the allowance is, like, because you see people, they'll buy containers, like shipping containers, and they'll spruce them up, and I'm like, what are the rules? Like, is this possible? Can I do this? Say, if I have an extra lot of land, can I just clear enough for me to do a little mini home like this? Or like little cute little tree house, like, how they have the tree house resorts and stuff. Like, can I do something like that on my property and they am not?
It's really interesting because when you think about it, when you look at Village and you look at PHC's fields, they basically have container homes. Like, they basically have
trailers,
have containers on their property to create a club ground. So it's not that it's not impossible. It's more of a matter of, do we have innovative thinkers to figure out a way to make this scalable for housing? Because clearly it's been done. So it's kind of one of those things, like, how do we make it so that it is affordable? Because clearly the traditional home is not going to be the forever. It's not sustainable right now. And it could be an option for those that are homeless.
I know, but it's the red tape of planning, right? At the end of the day, we come back.
Well, according to Nick, she says planning says no.
We're just working against ourselves, aren't we?
It's like, dang it. So
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Totally. And so I actually want to bring in this other question while we're talking through the comments for the audience to kind of engage with. So, audience, do you think funding is the only thing that our homeless population needs? So I want to come back to some more comments for the earlier question, but go ahead and let us know in the comments what you think the homeless population needs. So, Jack, earlier when you mentioned around, refinancing, getting a home, Anika Shields mentioned, refinance when the interest rates drop. which like even what you were talking about, like if you're buying a home for investment and then you do plan on getting another home, or you want to do something to your home, like Anika Shield says, refinance when the interest rates drop, because that's going to be obviously better bang for your buck. And
I love her in refinance, and I love her in balloon payments. I'm like, the goal's there. Like, I see that light. We're almost there, guys.
Yeah, almost there. And so I want to come to this comment from Jason Shirley. He says, everything is just ridiculously priced and not aimed for the average person to get ahead. Jack's her do as you can catch. I live for the end comment. And so I come back to a comment from Janae. She says, it makes me wonder what they are going to do with all the buses when the electric ones come in. I want to start a food bus. I want to start a food bus.
A food bus. Like, you can actually, that'd be so dope. Well, anything with food is dope to me.
I was just going to say, well, Jack, the way you and food have.
No, but you could put two buses together. One could have like the kitchen, and the other part could be like where you can sit down, and that'd be so wicked.
I actually did not think about that idea, but obviously when Sean brought it up, and just even this comment from Judy, she says, agree with Sean. This would allow one to get on their feet and also do for self, as many really want to do. And that's kind of where it kind of comes into the conversation. Like if we have an opportunity to repurpose these buses to create more affordable housing that is, and could be sustainable, right? Because we're not just going to throw away these vehicles and kill off the ozone layer even more. Like, that is a really great option. But as we mentioned, the red tape that is associated with getting all of this type of work pushed forward generally discourages people from even wanting to go further.
Oh, absolutely. You sit down and you start asking questions, and the answer is always no. Let me get back to you. They get back to you. No. And it's just like,
and then
so
even
what question can I ask to get a yes?
To your point, Jason Shirley says someone submitted the idea to use containers and was shot down by planning and government. So it's clearly, this isn't a new topic, definitely not new. But it is like,
I want to have an official answer as to why. Like, what is the no? Because you can't say, oh, well, people don't keep, like, if it's a eyesore, then you have to make sure that there are guidelines and requirements, a criteria for this to be a yes. So you have, because we have derelict houses going on all over the place, and if you have a container,
that's not healthy.
Exactly, that's an eyesore. Like, can you imagine? It's not even just an eyesore. If you're living next to it, there's infestations that could come onto my house. So you got rats I have to deal with, random cats, termites, just the smell of mold. That mold can be transferred to my house. Like, they must not be getting enough money from it. They probably don't know how to
generate revenue from it at the end of the day, because
what the price point would be for them to put in a permit.
At the end of the day, it still needs to be affordable on both sides. It definitely needs to be something that, is affordable for the persons that are using it as a stepping stone to get to a place where they can earn a home if they want to, or rent if they want to. But then also it needs to make sense for government. Like, it just can't be charity work per se, and that's probably a loose term to use it, but it just can't be where they're just giving, because then that just increases our debt, which then just kind of means that the generations that are coming behind us will continue to be paying off this debt that is just, at this point, astronomical. I want to come back to some more comments before we transition to our feel good vibe of the day. So Janae says there are places that have like a park set up full of containers, buses for homeless to come and have their own space. So we could just have a little bus depot situation going on. I think that's a great idea. Comment from Carlton Fleming, Jack.
There are empty apartments. They need to find a way to fill them and still protect the home. I agree. I don't mind the idea of having somebody that is learning a craft. So if you want to stay in my property, I need you to also know that you are going to be my maintenance person. So landscaping needs to be done. So if you're going to live here, you have to cut the grass, you have to trim the trees, you have to make sure that the property is taken care of. You see a spot on the wall, you can paint it. And that way it's more like a barter system. That way we're both winning. So the other tenants that are paying. The pipe burst, I need you to be able to go in and fix that. The toilet's just running, I need you to be able to go in and fix that. But while you're doing that, you're also getting experience so that you can go work for BCA or BGA or any of these other big companies that need plumbers or mechanics or electricians.
Yeah.
You already know that craft. So you're learning that up at, say, Bermuda College, because Bermudians get a huge discount, or government can make sure that it's a comped class for, like, you know, say 5 people getting a complimentary, but they're learning, and then they're putting back into the community as well, because they're living in my apartment for free, but they're helping maintain my building.
Right.
So
all great ideas. And so I want to come back to some more comments. So Janae says, also in Ontario, so speaking of the bus setup, they had showers in it, and the drives round for the homeless to get a shower and change clothes. And that's another great idea too, right? Another great way to repurpose the buses without completely getting rid of them.
Yeah.
And then, so speaking of government, Jason Shirley says the government will say yes when it benefits them or friends and family deal. Unfortunately, that's how Bermuda works. Who you are and how much money you have to give. So I guess, yeah, how Bermuda works. Got it. And then Anika DeShields is going on to say, I'm guessing the hurricane risk is possible with container homes, but also correctly the derelict homes. And I feel like even if there's a hurricane risk with Bermuda's current homes, so it's kind of like,
and same as boats.
We need to figure out how, you know, we need to figure out the long-term plan. Like, we're not just saying put up these container homes and then let's see what happens when hurricane season comes. Obviously, we definitely want to, you know, encourage an actual review of this process and hope that if it's not already in the works, that it is going to be in the works. And so Sean Smith goes on to say, we need to lobby our elected leader to change the laws and policies around planning. Don't worry, Jackie and I definitely have some ideas for the new year that we definitely are going to be hoping to bring forth. And then so he goes on to say, I remember when I was growing up and the government provided prefabricated starter homes for sale. They sold below market price. And I don't know if they were doing that when we were coming up, but I remember some type of affordable housing coming down the pipeline. And last comment from Jody Virgil before we go into commercial break, Jack.
I like the concept of the new transitional living center that has recently opened, provides all around support in a safe environment. I believe that is with Habitat for Humanity. It's with Sheila Cooper. I know I talk to her every so often, and I know that she opened one as well. That's what I was talking about. I think it was Friday I mentioned it, or maybe Monday, when I was saying it's like she could fill it 10 times over with all the families.
Gotcha. We'll definitely look to have more folks on the show to talk a little bit deeper. But for now, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our Feel Good Vibe of the day, which is Joke Time with Jackie. If you want to laugh to get your morning started, make sure you stick around for that.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. And if you're just joining us, today our feel good topic of the day was homeless for the holidays. We dove into what we think causes homelessness, as well as what are some solutions to, you know, support and help the homeless community. Because just from the article that we saw in the Daily, it's not just people who are choosing to be homeless, it's actually people that are trying to make a living for themselves and are unfortunately just not able to do so. And we have this comment from Kenton Chaw. He says, thank you for these conversations, ladies. You are so welcome. We're looking forward to bringing more of them in the new year. Jack, it is time for everyone's favorite moment of the show. Joke time with you.
Okay.
What you got?
All right. What did the fish say when he swam into the wall?
Ow.
Damn.
Because of damn.
Did you hear about the Italian chef who died?
No, what happened?
He passed away.
Passed away.
All right. 2 Bermudas are standing in a wind farm. One asks, what's your favorite type of music? The other says, I'm a big metal fan. Okay.
It's the visual because I'm really sitting here like, okay, two females are talking, and then I'm seeing a big metal. Yes, I love it. Audience, go ahead and let us know your reactions to our feel good vibe of the day. Sherry seems to love it, and Nikita Shield says, "Corny, that is very on brand for what Jackie and I love to bring you for our feel good vibe of the day." As always, we hope that today's feel good vibe of the day, like Sean Smith, has you ready to make it a great one. Thank you so much for watching and engaging with this episode of Good Day Bermuda. Supported by Pizza House and Islanders Restaurant, I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow for more feel good conversations. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.